Hi there. Today we are going to recreate this travel journal. So I apologize. I meant to do it last week. However, I got called to Maryland suddenly. My mother ended up in the hospital. She's home now, thank heavens, and doing well. So I am back and we are going to recreate this. So stick around. All right, so let's get into making another version of this travel journal. And so I'm going to be using my Shabby Chic Romantic papers. They're 8.5 by 11, and you can find them on Amazon or in my Etsy store. So if you get it from Amazon, you could cut, what I did was cut the spine out to loosen the pages, to have free pages, or you can take it to an office store and get the spine cut off, or you can print the Etsy papers and then they would be individual and you could print them on whatever type of paper you prefer. All right, so with that said, now the base for this project actually came from Victoria Designs, and I will link that video here so that if you would like to check that one out, you can also do that. Of course, I vary it. We do typically, and you'll probably vary yours from this, but I do want to give you how to make this, and you can follow along. Now, I have down in the comments all of your cuts. So I've already cut everything out, and then we will score them together. So I have the measurements and the scores on here. We start with the cardstock, and then you'll need 3/4 inches of ribbon. Now, if you like your ties a little bit longer, you can make it longer. If you like it shorter, you can do that. But I have 34 inches here, and I'm using this pretty chiffon ribbon. And then the designer pages, so that's going to be what you get out of the book, or if you print them from Etsy. And I already have mine cut, but that's all right here listed too for what you will need. And I'm pretty sure I've got everything listed as we go along. If there's something missing, I'll go ahead and add it, and that'll be updated in the show notes. All right. And then also, I've already roughly cut out the ephemera pieces, and then I'll go in. Here's the thing. If we have time to, I'm not sure we'll have time to decorate and embellish it today after we make it, but if we do, I'll pause and then cut these out a little bit more fussy cut. I just did a rough cut for now. And then the other thing I've got are, these all come with the papers in the either the Amazon book or the Etsy, and it has 12 beautiful journaling cards. There's 3 pages of it in the book form, but I've already roughly cut them, and we will be cutting those out more for what they go on. And then these are some of our journal pages. We're going to make a little journal book to put in it. All right, and I don't know if you saw the walkthrough. Let me just show you real quick what this ends up looking like. And our base is going to be exactly like this. So all these fun little pieces and parts, and we'll be referring back to this as we're making it. But this is the journal booklet I was talking about. So we're going to make one of these to fit inside of here. Here's our little journal cards that slide under that belly band. And then we've got different tags over here, little tag pocket there. It folds back up. We've got a little document pocket on this side. And then it folds back up like this. And there's the back, but we're using ribbon instead of the elastic this time. And I will be making more, so you'll be able to see how to do the elastic if you'd prefer that. Okay, so we're going to see how far we get, and then we may be able to embellish and decorate today. So we're going to start with our scoring. our base piece number one is 10.5 by 8.25. 10.5 by 8.25, and we're going to score it at 4 5/8 and 5 1/8. This way, on the 10.5 side. Okay, so we're going to do 4 5/8. I might have to get in here some to be able to see. 4 5/8. And then 5 1/8. Then 5 1/8. And then base number 2. Base number 2 is 11 by 8.25. Mine was just slightly shy. No, that one is 11. That's right. For some reason, this paper was just shy of 11. So I used one of my 12 by 12s to make this one. Okay, so 11 by 8.25. And we are going to score this one at 1/2 and 1. So on this side, we're going to score 1/2 and 1. And then we're going to turn it around. It's very important. Make sure you turn it around. And then after we turn it around, we're going to score on 4 3/4. So 4 3/4. And so there's our base. So let's go ahead and put this together. I will say, as far as this cardstock, I didn't necessarily want the color black, but it's the only color other than that, this manila color. It's the only color I had that I had enough of. And I didn't want to make it that color again, so I went with this. I had some pretty pinks and like a really gorgeous green, but I didn't have enough, and I didn't want to run out of cardstock. Okay, so we want to go ahead and fold and burnish our creases here. So just fold on our score lines. This is number 1. Okay, and then this is number 2. I don't think I have it upside down. I think it'll go this way. Pretty sure, yeah. It'll make sense in a minute. And then just want to go ahead and, depending on how thick your cardstock is, it's harder to fold the thicker it is. And I had mentioned in here, you can use cardstock that's like 85 to 100 pounds. That should be sufficient. All right, so now let's look at, here is our book unfolded. So this actually goes on this side. So base 2 will be on your left. And then this one will be base 1 will be over on your right. So this is going to get glued down to here. And first we want to, I forgot, we do want to miter these corners so that it's not, see, I had it mitered there so it's not quite as thick. We're just going to cut the corners there a little bit. Now on this one, I did round, and we could do that after we glue it together, but I don't know if you can see that. I'm sorry, I should bring that over here. I did round the corners on this one, and I think I want to do that on this next one we're making here today. But we can glue this together and then round the corners. Now we want our glue just on this part, and then that's going to go down on here. Okay, so let's get my glue. And I tend to, so for my cardstock pieces, I tend to use my Beacon fabric tack. And then to put the papers onto the cardstock, I tend to use my glossy accents. And I'll get that out when it's time to start putting some of the papers on. I just got this bottle open, so I love how it comes out so easily. Okay, and then of course we don't want to get too much on there. So we want just this tab only. Might be easier to go ahead and do it this way. This is why I personally, like to use glue versus paper tape. You can do either, whichever you prefer, but for me, when you glue, you get so much more wiggle room, you know, to move it around. So I like to use the glue for that purpose. And then we can just take, okay, so let's look at our base. We've got this is going to fold over, and then in here, and then there. So that's our base, and I'm a little bit off over there, darn. Let's see if we can still move it some. Oop, I should check from the back. Yeah, we can still move it. There we go. I probably mitered my corner there a little too much, but once we have it all decorated, it won't be that noticeable. Okay, so now we have our base, and we want to put the ribbon on. So let me close this back up. So what we're going to do, and if you were doing elastic, you would do it at this stage too. So we want to, yeah, so it goes on this panel because that's where my elastic is, on this one. All right, and we want to have it about, from this corner, we want to have it about 1.5 inches in so that it looks right on the front. So let's take our roller, and we want 1.5 inch. So let's go ahead and mark that. And I did this on my last one. It was like I was writing on these because I knew it was going to be covered up by paper, but right there in that crease, that's going to show. So I'll just erase it or do something. I might make a little flower there with the white pencil. We'll see, but I forgot about that. So let me get my white pencil again, and this definitely will be covered up. So we want it about 1.5 inches in for our ribbon. And that would be where it actually starts, because, you know, we do have some thickness here to our ribbon. All right, so we could just glue it down. About that much, you know, I mean, you could just estimate. You just want it. Now, we're going to be putting another piece of cardstock down, so that will hold that even better. But just so, you know, you want it to have a good anchor there. And I'm just going to use my glue again. I am a glue girl. Some people are tape people. I am all about glue. And then, of course, like I said, we're going to glue down our cardstock over top of that. So then we're going to have this run around there, and then we're just going to put the end of it. I just wanted to get it around here. And hopefully, I got to be cognizant. This is so big, and I'm used to, when I work on my own, I don't have to worry about it being in camera, but I do have to worry about it being in camera when I'm filming. So I apologize if I get out of camera, and I'll try to, when I'm editing, I can kind of move it around if it doesn't make you dizzy. But the goal would be just go ahead and stay in camera. So let's put, I could just put the glue there by the ink, by the pencil mark, couldn't I? Make things a little bit easier on myself. Okay, just enough to get us an anchor. Might have been more than I really wanted, but that's all right. Okay. We'll let that get a little bit dry. And then we're going to put the cardstock over top. All right, so let me move this, and then I have these in order, more or less. like I said, more or less. This would be, so this is the third panel, goes over the ribbon. It's 8 3/16 by 5 5/16. And if you're like me, so my cutter does not have 1/16 of inches on it. So I am not a math person by any means. So if you Google a picture of a roller, it'll show you that 3/16 is between 1/8 and 1/4, and 5/16 is between 1/4 and 3/8. I mean, I know y'all are like probably really good at math and thinking, what on earth? But and I am a nurse, but the thing is with nursing, we can memorize those formulas for calculating drugs and IVs. You just memorize the formula and you got it. You didn't have to like really understand how the math itself worked. You just had to know how to calculate it. And so that I did. I did really well on my test and on my board exam and all that. But when it comes to like really getting math, Fortunately, my grandson is a genius, a math genius, and a computer genius. I swear these kids are born knowing how to operate electronics. They must get coaching on the other side before they come here. Okay. Coaching that I definitely did not get, or I missed that day. Well, computers, though, I take that back. I'm pretty good on computers. I'm just didn't get the math gene. And then we have got our base. Now, let's go ahead and cut our ribbon. So we want to find, and just flip it over and find your mid part. So stretch it out and find your midpoint. And then go ahead and cut. I like a little bit of a slant to it. And there we go. So that will then, let's see, no, other way around, sorry. It's going to tie this way. Let me see, what am I doing here? There we go. It will tie that way. I take it back. So it will tie. It looked different because I don't have the corners rounded yet. So your ribbon will tie that way then. And see, I do have a good bit extra. So, you know, I'd rather have more than not enough because you can always cut more off. So that's why I went with the 34 inches. If you have ribbon you're trying to conserve, you could try to, you know, cut that back. All right. So now we are going to round our corners. So we'll just take, I've got Creative Memories corner rounder. And this is optional. I just kind of do like that look, especially with the smaller booklet like this. I'm just going to round these corners. Okay. Now, what I do next is go ahead. This is our inside, and we're going to flip it around to the outside to start decorating the pages. So, I have them already cut and numbered and labeled. And the first one we're going to do is, this is the second section from the left, so it's this one. So that's going to go on there. And then, I think it looks nice on the black. I would have rather had a different color, but the second one, it's on the far left. It's basically our cover, so to speak. And then it's 8 by 4 3/8. Did I tell you this size? This is 8 by 5. And then this gal here, she's number 3. She's going to go on this panel. Third from the left, 8 by 5. So these two pieces are 8 by 5. And then over here, on this fourth section, we're actually going to make a pocket. So let's go ahead and glue these pieces down, and then you'll see how to do that pocket on that side. Where is my glossy accents? So I do like to use my glossy accents for the paper onto the booklet. Now, this one, we're going to need to round the corners. Seems like I cut this short. I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, no, there we go. Because it's going to go like that. That's what's wrong. I had it into the crease. So we're just going to round this top and bottom outer corner. And what I'm going to do is, yeah, see, I just had it too far on that crease. What I'm going to do while I'm gluing these down is go ahead and speed it up a little bit. All right, and now we're ready to do our pocket. I'll tell you, it's funny. Normally, I just kind of wing it and go, like, if I'm creating something, even if I'm following someone's tutorial, I typically just cut the pages as I'm going. I prefer, so I had to get prepared for this video, and I'll tell you, I like having it all cut out ahead of time. I might have to change my practice. Now, next we want to do this pocket, which it is, oh no, that's our side flap. So this is for on the inside. This is our side pocket. So side pocket, 8 1/4 by 3 1/2. And that's going to go there. But before we put that down, we want to cover the edge. So before we put this down, we're going to go ahead and put this down after we round the corners. See, isn't that pretty? Makes it look nice under there. And this piece is number 4. I didn't write the size on there. So it is 8 by 2. So 8 inches long by 2 inches wide. And it just needs to be enough so that it covers underneath where that pocket's going to go. And we wanted our corners rounded, of course, to match. Okay, and this over. And then we're going to just glue our pocket down, of course, on the sides and the bottom, but we want to make a notch, I think. I didn't make a notch on this one, but that was mostly because, where's our back flap? Oh, that's right, it ends up on the inside. It's this one. So I didn't put a notch in this one mainly because my hole punches weren't working. All right, I'm back, and you didn't see all that, but I had to cut another piece of cardstock because I attempted to make a notch in here, but I have the worst luck with hole punches, and this messed it all up. I don't know why. I can't buy hole punches that work, but they get jammed. That one just didn't cut it right, and it chewed my paper all up. So, no notches for me, but y'all can make your notch if you would like. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put our pocket down, do our 3 sides here. Just go as close to the edge as possible to make your pocket as large as possible, because I like to fold. With this other one, I folded a document in half, or a page in half, or in 3, I'm sorry, in 3 like you would a letter. Okay, so there's our pocket down. And these papers are so gorgeous, I don't think it matters whether you have a notch or not. There we go. Now, it wasn't going to be my paper, but it did all right. It did all right on this paper, but then it could not cut through the cardstock. So that was going to be my one on there. Darn. And I'm running low because I used a lot of the papers on some other projects, and so I don't have a lot of papers to spare. I got to order another book. Beautiful. So this just goes on here. Okay. So that is our back all covered. Now we can flip it over to the inside. Get started on that. Okay, so now that we're on the inside, the first thing we're going to do is put these flaps in place. So we've got the top and the bottom. They're going to be these pieces, this one and this one and this one. So we're going to put those down first, and then we'll put the paper over top of it. And the first piece that we have is the side flap, the long one. And this one, let me get my glasses back on. This one is 3 3/4 by 8 1/8. And we need to score these pieces. So I bring my scoreboard back in. And this particular one, we score, this is our side flap. We scored at 1/2 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. Oh, I got paper under there. So we want to score it. I'm just double checking myself again. At 1/2 and 3/4. So at 1/2 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. And that's on the long piece. Well, I guess it's on the short one that you're actually scoring. You're scoring the length of it. Okay, and then we've got our top and our bottom, and that you're going to score on what would be the top and the bottom of the piece. So on your, what is this, 4-inch side. So this is 5 1/4 by 4, and you're going to score on the 4-inch side. And we are going to score that at 1/2 inch and 3/4, same thing. So 1/2 inch and 3/4. And then this one too. It doesn't really matter which one's bottom and top, they're the same. But we're going to do 1/2 inch. And 3/4 of an inch. And so we'll go ahead and fold these and varnish them. So fold here. I don't know, I hope it's not too hard to see with using the black cardstock. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then we'll just go ahead and get those nice crisp edges so you end up with like a little hinge like that. Little spine. So you got your hinge and a little bit of a spine there. Same thing here. Okay. And then our long one, and we'll put this one on first. It's gonna be, fold this down, and this. Now I feel like on these longer pieces with the thicker cardstock, you really got to start in the center and work your way out. Okay, so then what we're going to do, so we got us a little spine like that in our hinge. We want to put the glue on here, but I'm going to fold it like this because it has to go completely up to this edge. You see where our crease is? Where our crease is there, we want it to go up to that edge. Just like that. The kitten. Hold on a second. I'm back. It was Electra. So our little kitten, she's just a tiny little thing, and she needs more calories than our big cat needs. So I have to put her in the office and shut the door whenever I feed her a little bit extra. And I give her kitten food so that she gets the extra protein. And so Crystal, our adult cat, how can we say it nicely? She just does not need the extra calories. So anyway, then I forgot to open the door, and she was letting me know I did not reopen that office door and let her out. Okay, and this one pretty much fits the length, so it's easy to line up there. So see, we still have our little bit of that spine, and we just glued down this part. Oh, and you know what? I probably should have mitered those, but what we could do is miter where these are going to meet up, just so that it's not too thick there. But we actually could have gone ahead and mitered the corners of this one. So this one will go on top now, since we have it mitered here. And so we want to glue this part, and I'm going to fold it here so that we don't get our spine involved in the glue. And then this, you just want to make sure it's centered, because that's not completely, doesn't completely fit that width. Okay. That's the other thing I don't like about black cardstock, because it does show everything with the glue, but we're going to be covering it up with paper. There we go. Okay. And then for down here, this is going to open, you know, so this opens that way and this one's going to open this way. So we'll go ahead and cut a little corner just from that first notch there. First line. Okay. And then we're going to glue this down there. So we'll fold it here. Okay, and then we want this to go up against here, centered so that they match up. Looks pretty good. Make sure it's not over the edge, and it's not. Oh, Electra, don't mess up my papers. So Electra decided to come and join us. I got my papers in orders, baby. There we go. You don't need to mess Mommy's papers up. All right, so that's those flaps. So now with those flaps on here, we can go ahead and put our paper down on here. And that should be this one, if I've got them in order correctly. Nope. Okay, so it looks like, let's see. Left front, that would be this one. And that is, oh, left, yeah. Far left, so that's this one, and it's 8 by 4.5, so it's 8 by 4.5, and we'll need to round. You can see me there. That goes on this far left one, and we're going to round our corners. I just think it looks so much neater that way. So we're going to glue that one on there. And then the next thing we're going to do is glue this piece down. So this is the top of this one. It's 5 by 3. And it's going to go down here because we're going to put these slanted pockets. So that's just covering up that. And then we're going to have these slanted pockets on this side. So that's going to go there. And then this is the piece, I think, oh, I had this for the pocket. We're going to put a pocket down there, and that goes over top of the pocket. So we'll set that aside a minute. And then this one is under our journal booklet, and it's 8 by 5 1/8. So that's going to go on here. 8 and 5 1/8. And then we've got her to go on the end here. She's going to come over here. And she is, see, far right, number 10. She's 8 by 4 3/8. So 8 by 4 3/8. And we need to round the corners. So let's go ahead and round these corners. And then I can glue these down in hyperspeed. All right, so we've got all of these glued down, and I can't remember if I told you this is 5 by 3. It's just, again, to cover, have a little patch there where we're going to put our slanted pockets. All right, so now we're going to decorate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a piece over here, but then we can't put the insides on until after we do our little buttons and brads. So anyway, we can put the top part on though. So, in fact, we have to put the top part on so we can put those over top of it. This one goes here, and this is 7 7/8 by 2 3/4. That goes on there. Now I'm wondering, you know what? I rounded those corners. So I think to be in keeping with that, I probably better round the corners. So we would want to round here and here. Yeah, I think that does look nicer. I just think it gives it a more polished, finished look. Although there's some things I do and I don't round the corners. It's harder to do this way than if I'd have done it while it was flat, but for some reason, that one angle was just hard to get to. So anyway, if I were you, I would go ahead and round them before you put these on, but I didn't think about it till I just saw that I had the other ones rounded. All right, so then we're going to round this one. Much easier this way. And put that one on there, and then it doesn't really matter. I have all these pieces cut, and they're all pretty floral. You know, so that looks nice. Or I have these for out here. Let's put the lighter ones maybe on here. I have different options. I made extra just in case I wanted to change it up. That's pretty, very pretty. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and round these corners and glue those down. Okay, so now we're ready for our little circle pieces. So with this one, I had just gotten that button maker in, and I made these buttons, which they're gorgeous. However, it was very difficult to stick them down, so I'm not going to do that. But if you watch my video where I got my button maker, it's with my Prime Day haul. And I made these buttons. They are fun and they're beautiful, but they don't work for that exact project. So I think I'm just going to go back to the old fashioned. I may cut out some 1-inch cardstock circles, and then I'm going to cut out the smaller ones of this. I think these were 1 inch. Yeah, these would have been 1 inch. So we'll go to the 3/8 of an inch. See if I have more luck with these. The smaller circle cutters seem to work okay for me. I'm not sure what it is about the larger ones, but I don't know. I can't seem to keep them. I want the kind of the lighter color here, I think. So 1, 2, now let's go over here. 3. And then we should have little, there we go, little decorative pieces to put on here. And we'll glue these down and then poke the brad through. Oh, first I'll take my awl and I'll make a hole with my awl. Ooh, that's cute there. All right, let me glue these down. I'll give those a chance to dry a little bit and then take my awl and poke through there and through here, and then we'll put the brad in. I like to take some twine after we put the brad in to make sure it doesn't go all the way down. You'll see what I mean. And then we'll have our twine to tie it up there. All right, I'm back, and I feel like these are pretty dry now. I will have to, I can't find my glue eraser anywhere. It's like one of those pickup tools, or they call it pickup, but it erases the glue, and so I'm going to have to find that later because that one's kind of a mess, but it does clean it up really well. It's like a glue eraser. So anyway, we'll want to put these about like that, or, I mean, the other thing we could potentially do, I ended up putting them that way. You could, let's see how this would work. Could put it like this, and then those would go in the center. Maybe that would look more uniform. Oh, you can really see that glue in the light. That might look a little better, although I kind of feel like the reach on this makes more sense. Yeah, let's do it that way. All right. So this will go here and here. We'll measure them to be sure. And then this one we can kind of, pretty much eyeball. We want it in the center, about right there. Hope that's not too much of a glare. All right. So I think we could do it like this. You'll want to have your awl go through both of these. I know how we can tell if it's about in the center. I was off, wasn't I? Right there. And you could always measure. That would be the other thing to do. Go ahead and measure. All right, so I found my smaller, this is my smaller awl, and I have some foam that my husband gave me that he had gotten in some packaging. I could use that, or I could just go ahead and do it this way. So let's just find the center here, and we want to go through and not poke our fingers. Yeah, not bad. And then you could just poke it the rest of the way through, and then we'll want to get our brad. I've got these colored brads here. Kind of different shades of pink. Make sure I got 3 all the same shade. I like the lighter with all this. There we go. I'm just going to put this through to hold it there for now. Oh, it actually needs to be a little bit bigger of a hole than that. So you just take your awl and you go a little bit further in to widen the hole some. Yeah, I'm just going to put that in there to kind of keep everything in place. Do you like that color better, or maybe this one? Yeah, I kind of like that. I don't want it to be too overwhelming. All right, so we've got that down. So now we could take our twine. In fact, I can just use that little piece I had there, because here's the thing. We don't want this flat up against. We want to put our brad down, but we don't want to have it flat up against here. So we could use this as our spacer. Yeah, you can wrap it around there a couple times. You want to make sure you have some space. Now we'll bring this over, and I need to get something. Sometimes these are easy to split and sometimes they're not. See if it's easy. Yeah, they're actually easy to split. Good. Okay. And then we'll just go ahead and put those down. Same thing here. Then we'll take our twine out because we have room for space for our twine. Do that again here. If you do it a couple times, you should be pretty safe. Okay. And then same thing. I'll just speed it up here. I think what we'll do for today, we'll finish these slanted pockets over here, and then tomorrow I'll come back and we'll do the tags and the other ephemera pieces and finish decorating it. So let's go ahead and get these three. So we have the three. Oh, I gotta put a pocket over here too. Yeah, so we get a pocket over here as well. But we're going to do these three slanted pockets and then cover them with this. And let's go ahead. It'll be quicker to do this one. I forgot about that one. So the way that she had done it with Victoria Designs, she had a window pocket over here, but I just did a regular pocket like this and then had the tag in there. So that's what I'm going to do again with this one, but you could, if you wanted to, do that. I wonder how that would look. Why don't we round the corners on this? That might look okay on here. So let's try that. And this tag is 4 by 6. Put it right there. And you know, I'm kind of, now that I'm seeing all the papers on this black cardstock, I'm actually liking it. So we're just going to go ahead and glue this down as a pocket. Yep. Yep, there we go. I had left the top off of this. I was hoping it didn't all dry up. So there is this pocket. And then since I've rounded that, I'll have to round these corners. That might be a little bit too big, huh? Let's see, by the time we round the corners, it'll probably work. Yeah, pretty. Alrighty. And like I said, I used up a lot of these papers. I should have ordered more because there's more pictures, as you can see, you know, like different various pictures that can be added to this. And so I had just like a lot of the plain florals left over. I love this series. And I think the colors are just so gorgeous, and they're kind of subtle, like soft and subtle. That's why it's called the Shabby Chic collection. There we go. And the women they're kind of like different eras, aren't they? I was trying to go for more vintage, but this one's more retro than vintage. She's a little more modern. So for the slanted pockets, we're going to need 3 pieces of cardstock that are 5 by 3 1/4. And then we're going to need our papers that are 4 7/8 by 3 1/8, 3 of them. And we're going to take the 3 pieces of cardstock and we're going to cut them. And this time I'm going to kind of follow this so I don't cut the slant too deep. So it looks like, yeah, I made those nice deep pockets, so I didn't make the slant too big. Let me get my scissors, and you want to cut all 3 together so that they're the same. And then you just flip the middle one over. You'll see what I mean. Find my scissors. I am right-handed, so I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to cut it not too deep, and then if I need to go deeper, I can always do that. So I'm just going to kind of give it a slant here. I'm even slanting it more because you could tell that bottom, but I still think that'll be okay. Okay, oh, they went flying. All right, so then this one's going to go this way, and then this way, and then that way. But we want to take one of these so that we can cut our papers. And I didn't cut that very straight. I did great on that one. I don't know what's wrong. Once you get the camera going, nothing seems to work out. So what we want to do, and like I said, right-handed, so I want to go this way. We want to cut our papers. Now, one of them I'm going to flip over because the one that I'm going to put in the middle is going to go the other way. You see what I mean? So I'm going to flip it over. Either side's pretty though. But what we want to do is bring this up some because we're going to cut it this way and then move it down. So you want about double of the what you want showing. So you want to do about double. And then we're going to hold it like that and cut all our papers. And again, we flipped one of them over because it's going to be flipped on the pocket. So see, then what we end up with is you got a little bit of leeway there, a little bit showing around the edges. So that worked out pretty well. And then this one, we're going to do this way. So it goes that way, that goes in the middle. And then this one is our top one. So we want to start with the top. I'll go ahead and glue these onto the pockets, and then we'll glue the pockets on to the cardstock here. Now we can decide which one. I actually kind of think I want that on the bottom because that's going to show more. So we're going to put this one at the top and then this in the middle. And let's see how that's going to look. And then this one at the bottom. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so we want to start with our top one about right there. Probably better put it up so that's covered. And we're just going to do it in pocket style. So we're going to glue the edges and then start gluing them down. And I think that's it for today, and then we'll come back tomorrow and embellish and make tags. Thanks for watching.